Today, we're looking at a fascinating paradox in one of the world's greenest cities. We're going to break down how Vancouver, a city known for its environmental leadership, might have an internal policy that's holding back its own massive climate goals. Okay, let's dive right in.
So it really boils down to this one kind of provocative question. Vancouver has this amazing global reputation for being green, right? But what if there's a blind spot? What if an old-school perk for its own employees is actually undermining the entire climate strategy?
All right, so to really get what's going on here, we first have to understand the city's goal. It's huge. They've laid out these super ambitious targets as part of their climate emergency response. And we need to look at one in particular. And wow, when you look at this goal, the sheer scale of it is pretty mind-blowing. This isn't just about the morning commute. The goal is that by 2030, 2/3 of all trips in the city will be done by walking, biking, or taking transit. I mean, that is a massive fundamental shift in how a city moves.
So how in the world do you actually get there? Well, the report breaks it down. To lead by example, the city of Vancouver needs its own staff to bump up their sustainable commutes by 4.7% every single year. And let's be honest, that's a really tough number to hit year after year.
Okay, so you've got this big 4.7% goal. What's standing in the way? Well, the report points a finger at one thing in particular, a long-standing employee benefit that it calls not just a perk, but a problem. And that's free parking.
And we're not talking small numbers here. We're talking about roughly 4,000 city employees. This isn't just a few reserved spots. And think about the value. A free parking spot in a city like Vancouver could be worth up to $300 a month. I mean, that's a huge unspoken incentive to just drive to work every day, right?
And look, this isn't some crazy new idea. Experts like Donald Shoup have been shouting this from the rooftops for years. His whole thing is that free parking is one of the biggest misnomers out there. It's never actually free. It creates massive hidden costs in congestion, pollution, and wasted land. And of course, it massively encourages people to drive.
It's not just academics either. You've got local groups on the ground saying the exact same thing. Vancouver's own cycling advocacy group, Hub Cycling, just lays it out there. They say that taking away the incentive to drive, the free parking, is actually a more powerful move than adding new bike lanes. You have to tackle both sides of the problem. All right, so we've identified the problem, but what's the fix? The report doesn't just complain. It lays out a really clever strategy where the problem itself becomes the source of funding for the solution.
It boils down to a classic stick and carrot approach. The stick is that employees who get free parking now would have to start paying for it. But, and this is the brilliant part, the carrot is that all the money from those parking fees gets funneled directly into incentives for the employees who walk, bike, or take the bus.
So how does the money side of this actually work? Well, it's pretty straightforward. Step 1, start charging for parking. Step 2, as more people switch and those parking spots open up, you can sell them, lease them, or turn that valuable land into something better. Or, most likely, you do a mix of both and create a program that completely pays for itself. So let's break this down for a real person. What does this feel like for an employee? Let's call her Jane. Well, if she decides to ditch her car for the bus, she's not just avoiding that new parking fee. That's the first bar. She also gets to cash in on the new incentives. That's that much bigger second bar. So at the end of the month, she could have a pretty nice net gain. The choice to switch suddenly makes a lot of financial sense.
You might be thinking, okay, this sounds kind of radical, but is it really? Is this some big, untested experiment? Well, turns out not at all. Let's look at some real-world places where this exact idea has been a huge success.
This comparison right here is, well, it's pretty incredible. Take a look at Seattle Children's Hospital. Back in '94, a whopping 78% of their staff drove to work alone. So they brought in a program just like this one, charging for parking and rewarding other options. The result? They crushed that number down to just 33%. Now compare that to the city of Vancouver, which saw a much smaller change over that time. The data speaks for itself. And if you want to see a city that's gone all in on this idea, you just have to look at Copenhagen. Their model is so simple, but it's relentless. Every single year, they just get rid of 2 to 3% of the city's parking spots. It's the slow, steady, long-term pressure that has completely reshaped the city. It really shows you that true change takes decades of consistent, brave policy. So, when you strip it all away, what are we really talking about here? This isn't just about spreadsheets or parking policy. At its core, this is a test of leadership. It's a fundamental question about what a city actually prioritizes. I mean, this image just says it all, doesn't it?
The physical space you need for one single car, you can park 10 bikes in that same area. When you see it like that, the choice becomes crystal clear. It's a literal picture of a policy decision. Which one of these are you building your city for?
And that brings us to the final question. The plan is here, the numbers work, and we've seen proof from other cities that it can be a massive success. So will Vancouver actually practice what it preaches? Is it going to lead by example and get its own house in order to meet its climate goals? Or is the comfort of an old perk just too much to give up? That's the choice they have to make.